Hello, I'm Doug Walker, and I'm here with Jim Miller and Art Callaham. Stay with us for your Now on the Flip Side. All right, so many have heard the saying, elections have consequences, and although we still have one election to go, we know we will have at least 2 new county commissioners in the board starting in December. Panel, what are the potential impacts of this shift?
I think we're moving in the wrong direction.
I was waiting for that.
I think there's a lot of potential impacts. You know, the reality is that we have some folks running that are potentially very strong candidates. I was quite frankly surprised by the primary election results. And now with the introduction of Ron Bowers into the field, you know, he potentially is a strong candidate, at least from a name recognition standpoint. I know there are 2 camps. You either love Ron or you don't love Ron.
No, there's no middle ground there.
No. But
well, let's talk about some of the things that you know, the county administrator, the assistant county administrator, put out a news release and some information out on all the things that have been positive with the current Board of County Commissioners. Now, of course, I'm biased, and I'll be the first to admit that. I also am a sore loser, and my wife's not going to be a county commissioner in the next term. But I think the emphasis that the county administrator made on the positive things that have occurred during this particular administration are noteworthy and worth talking about. AAA bond rating, or certainly an increase in our bond rating. The county is fiscally sound, and that's not just something we made up. The bond agencies are saying clearly this particular county, Washington County, has a very, very strong bond rating and a very strong fiscal situation. So those things you can't take away. I'm not so sure that with the coming election that we'll be able to continue that. Now, that's my opinion.
Well, without delving too much into specifics on this, because I know a lot of these people and I like a lot of these people, there's at least one potential new county commissioner who I think has the right ideas, don't get me wrong, on, for example, fire and EMS in the county. I mean, one of the reasons we have a good bond rating is that we've not had to shell out for what counties down the road are shelling out for public safety. We've been very lucky in that regard.
Sure.
But we're changing now. And one way or another, and this potential county commissioner, I disagree with him on virtually every other element of politics, but I agree with him on this one. We've got to come up with some kind of plan to address public safety in the county-wide. If we're going to be a county that's moving towards progressivism and taking care of our people and attracting business, part of attracting business is people knowing that if the alarm goes off, somebody's coming to take care of them.
Now, that's not, Doug, and let me not correct you, but let me say, you're not talking about progressive in the sense of a political agenda.
No, I'm talking
about progress.
Progress, yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Progress, yes.
And because I don't think any of us want to go to a progressive agenda.
No, if those words ever come out of my mouth, you'll know that I need to be drug tested.
Okay. That's what I thought.
So, you know, we've talked about the fire and EMS issue in the county on this show several times in the past. And, you know, I think it's an issue that's kind of waiting in the wings, and I think this next administration is going to have to deal with it. Art, I completely concur with what the county, and I'm not biased, quite frankly, and you know, if I didn't think Ruth Ann was doing something right, I would be the first one to tell her. But I got to say that I've seen a lot of good ideas, and I've seen a lot of good policies come out of this current administration, in my opinion.
Sure.
And especially in light of the fact of the economic cards that they've been dealt, because this has not been an easy economy.
Yeah.
And for our county to show this progress, and granted, it's not as much progress as we'd like. Unemployment is a lot lower,
sure,
but it's still not where we would like it. But the fact that we have shown all of this progress in these last 4 years, given the economy nationally and statewide, and given the significant problems that state and national government have had about availability of funds to pay for things, I think is quite a coup for us.
Well, and let me go back and address Doug on the fire and EMS. I mean, one of the things that I think this current Board of County Commissioners should take credit for, now not all of them agree with what I'm about to say, but they need to take credit for is limiting the Fair Play Fire Company,
Absolutely,
taking away their authority or their responsibility to make fire and rescue calls because they weren't meeting the standard. Now that was a tough political decision.
it was.
And the vote, as I recall, is 3-2 on that. And you know, we may go back to a situation of where, and I certainly don't want to get us to get too many emails coming in, but we don't need to go back to the good old boy network in fire and EMS where we keep people and we keep fire companies on simply because they're being run by people we like, as opposed to meeting the responsibilities that they have.
And I think no matter what size your your jurisdiction, you're probably going to have some of that regardless, but you try and tamp it down as much as you can. My bigger issue is that the fiscal house being in order is great, but if we're going to make the changes that we need long term, I think for business, we're going to have to shell out some money too. And part of it's going to be we're going to have to move toward more of a combination system where there's more paid people than there are volunteers because the volunteers aren't there. And that's going to be an issue that's, like you said, Jim, it's looming. That one's coming up and it's going to have to be addressed.
Adding to your point, Art, I think that in these last 4 years, there's been a number of politically sensitive decisions that had to be made. And quite frankly, by and large, I've seen the majority of our commissioners step up and make those decisions and make those tough decisions and put our citizenry first over their potential to get reelected.
Well, absolutely, and you know, you bring up, of course, it's an agenda that I certainly have, regardless of whether my wife was an elected official or not. Many of you know certainly that I was somewhat involved in public decisions and such in my prior life before I retired for the third or fourth time, whichever.
Nothing wrong with that.
But clearly, things like decisions that were made up there on the north end of Hagerstown over property rights. Tough decision.
Absolutely.
Tough decision. And this particular board, albeit 3-2, again, this board erred on the rights of property owners. Well, I mean, that's the right side to be on. If a property owner is doing everything required under the zoning laws and under the urban growth plans and all of those various and sundry things, if a property owner is doing things in accordance with that, then we have to err on that person's side. This board, 3-2 sometimes, was willing to make those kind of tough decisions.
The other thing that I'd like to say is, as you look at this crew of county commissioners, at least in my opinion, I see them out and about in the community and taking a larger part. You know, we all kid about Jeff Klein as the selfie commissioner, but I got to tell you, I see John Barr all over the place. We know that John Barr, if he's reelected, and I, for one, hope he is, we know that John Barr is going to be the president of the Maryland Association of Counties.
Correct.
That is a huge deal and a major coup for this community.
Right.
Sure.
You know, I see others. I saw Ruth Ann out all the time. You know, I don't know what the salary is for a county commissioner. I remember it's low, but I got to think that they spend more in paying for those $50 a plate fundraising dinners that they go to than what they make in their salary.
On the humorous side of things, look, Ron Bowers, I don't know the man personally, but I'm 49 years old. If I can remember as a boy, my dad, God rest his soul, talking about you as a county commissioner, you've been doing this way too long, all right? Can we not come up, nothing against you, Mr. Bowers, but daggone, can we not come up with some new blood? I mean, it's just that's kind of strange.
Well, there's a couple of the candidates on the Democrat side that certainly seem to have some potential.
Yeah,
this young man Beal.
That's who I was talking about earlier. I disagree with him, and I think he knows that, but he's right on that issue with the fire department.
And quite honestly, and I said it on the last show when we were talking about it, a previous show when we were talking about Ron throwing his hat back in the ring. I mean, he's a viable candidate in my opinion. And Ron Bowers did a lot of good things for this community.
And for what I just said, the guy's got a lot of civic spirit. Again, I disagree with him on politics, but he's a civic-minded individual.
He wants to do the right thing. There's no question about that. I think Ron's heart is in the right place. I disagree with him on a lot of things, but I think his heart's in the right place. Now, having said that, there are others that are candidates, and I won't mention specific names, but I hope, as we have suggested to the viewers on every show where we've talked about politics, I hope that our viewers will take a look and understand who it is they're voting for and what they stand for. Because quite frankly, there are a couple that are in this race that I think are what I would term the commissioner or the potential commissioner of no.
Right.
Who they just say no to everything.
Sure.
And the reality is, as you pointed out, Doug, that success requires investment. And over the next several years, if the economy continues to improve and if Washington County continues to flourish, there are some investments that are going to need to be made.
Sure.
And honestly, one of the things, we've talked about the EDC before. I really would like to see that up and running like a well-oiled machine.
Sure.
You know, and on a macro level, and there's no way to quantify this, but I just can't help but think, we're doing this well now. Imagine if the feds were out of the way of local governments, how much better we'd be doing at this point. I mean,
now there's your libertarian coming through on you there, baby.
Well, in the state too, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because the state sometimes doesn't always take care of us either.
That's exactly right.
So.
Well, like I said, there's been a lot of good things that have occurred with this current Board of County Commissioners. I hope there'll be a lot of good things that will occur with the next board. But I think the point you made, Jim, we need voters to turn out to vote. That's number one, and turn out and be informed on what the candidates.
Don't just pull the lever for a D or an R or what have you. You know what I mean? Just learn about the candidate.
Exactly.
Especially on local elections. I don't think that matters as much. That's just my opinion.
That's exactly right.
Well, stay tuned because when we come back, Art Callaham is going to be talking about a potential snag regarding the new downtown redevelopment plan. We'll be back.
When Scott was just a little kid, we knew something was a little different about him.
So what do you think, Scott?
Well, I was hoping for something with flames, a big block, and a high car.
So it really wasn't a surprise when he opened up a speed shop on Marshall Street in Hagerstown. You can find performance parts at every Megamart or .com, but when you buy from Scott, your satisfaction's guaranteed.
And our prices are still as low as my socks. We still have bras.
For your car, of course.
Scott's Speed Shop on Marshall Street in Hagerstown.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
It's that time of year again at Hagerstown Honda. The 2014 models are on the way and the 2013s must go. It's your last opportunity to save big with 0% for up to 60 months on every new 2013 in stock. There's less than 300 models remaining and time is winding down. Looking for the lowest payment? Lease the award-winning all-new 2013 Honda Civic 4-door LX Automatic for only $219 per month with no money down. Or lease the award-winning all-new 2013 Honda Accord 4-door LX CVT for only $269 per month with no money down. It only happens once a year. The Honda Summer Clearance Event going on now from the dealer that's making it easy, Hagerstown Honda.
The Bottom Line Sales Event is back at Hamilton Nissan. It's our biggest sale of the year and your chance to save thousands. Get up to $5,000 off on Altimas or drive for as low as $18,600. Or choose Rogue, up to $6,000 off or as low as $19,200. New Sentras for under $16,000. Over $7,000 off on the new Pathfinder. Frontier pickups starting at only $18,100. But hurry, the Bottom Line Sales Event is for a limited time at Hamilton Nissan, your dealership for life.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
if you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve FaceTime.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport? Conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
The Urban Partners plan to revitalize downtown is hot off the press, and the city has emphasized that there will be a need for significant amounts of private investment. Panel, we've talked about previous plans for downtown reinvention. Is the key to success really private investment?
I've been a sort of a one-trick pony on this. I've said for the longest time when we have these segments that and look, I understand the government's doing what they have to do to keep the downtown going at all, but at some point the local government, whether it's county or city, needs to quit buying buildings and somehow find a way to draw in private investment to do something with those buildings. They're doing the best they can, but I think gentrification's a good word there. I'll say it.
But are they doing the best that they can? I mean, is this about private investment or is this about political will?
Well, I think it's political will.
I've seen a lot of issues that I think have died on the vine as a result of the political or the lack of political will to do something.
Well, I mean, we ran SOAR out of town. Okay, I mean, we'll get the phone calls from the city, and that's okay. Let them call. You ran SOAR out of town. SOAR was a development firm that came to town, said, you give me some money to do the plan, and not only will we do a plan for you, we'll bring, and they have a track record that was clearly verifiable, we'll bring private investment into this community to implement the plan. Now, we ran them out of town. We didn't want to talk to them anymore. So we pick up Urban Partners. I'm sure they're a great group.
Bob Brucey tends to like them. He seems to know them. So.
But I mean, here's the deal. The economic development folks in the city at an Eggs and Issue with the Chamber of Commerce just reported that the only way we're going to get any plans off the dime is to have private investment. And in the past, that's what's kept us from acting in this community. And that's bunk. I'd use another word if we weren't on television.
So, going back to the SOAR thing, I find it, knowing some of the history of SOAR, and I'm sure there are others in town, that when they see the commercial, the New York City commercial or the New York State commercial, where SOAR announces they've moved to New York State, and they recognize SOAR as this amazing development company, and we kicked them out.
Well, there was a town up in and I had a discussion with the mayor, Goldsboro in New Jersey, that SOAR came to town, did a plan, worked a plan about enhancement of a downtown university. Does that sound a little familiar with Hagerstown? Did a plan, $125 million, and they brought money to the table, and the mayor of that town in New Jersey said, they're everything they say they are. And we say, well, no.
We say go home.
We're not really interested in having you here. Now,
and that was absolutely a political will.
Sure.
And the problem was, it was right after an election cycle.
Sure.
When they came. And I think, again, I was not privy to all of those meetings, but it felt to me like somebody was trying to take a political stand just to say no.
Well, have we ever, and you guys would probably know this better, and for the viewers, look, I live locally, I work in the metro area, so I'm not as up on local things as I should be, but I know that Hagerstown's changed. And have either of you has anybody that you know of locally done any comparison between Hagerstown and what we're doing and what they're doing in Frederick? Given the fact, I know Frederick's got different demographics and all the rest of it, there's more high-tech workers that commute and all that, but they're doing something right, because Market Streets has been lively for 25 years.
Sure.
I mean, and I don't know what they're doing that we're not. That's
I mean, but back to the root of this particular segment with Flipside is they had private investment, but we've had private investment available in this community.
And why didn't, what I'm saying is, what are their political leaders, what do they see that we're not seeing? That's I guess, a better way to put it.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I've been discouraged with over a long period of time in this community is the word business is a bad word. You'd think business was a four-letter word among some of our folks that have been in leadership positions. Business, Dutch Rupersberger. I'm going to wax Democrat for you here, okay? Congressman Dutch Rupersberger. He's the one that used this phrase that I'm about to use, and the one I always remember saying it, is the best social program in the world. The best social program in the world is a job. And who brings jobs? Does the government bring jobs? And the answer to that is, to some degree. But who really brings jobs to a community
Small business.
is business sector and small business in the state of Maryland. 95% of all businesses in the state of Maryland today fall into the category of small business. So you're exactly right, Doug. And we've made business out to be a bad thing.
How much of this indecision, this lack of movement, whatever you want to call it, has to do with the hired staff at the city versus the elected officials?
Well, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I've had dealings with both for up until 4 years ago. For about 15 years, I had dealings with both. And I'm not going to say any names to throw anybody under the bus, but I've clearly heard from lips to these ears from the staff, the hired staff, and they've been positive about redevelopment in the downtown, had great solutions, great opportunities put forth, willing to implement plans, but we could never get anything through.
On the political side.
The elected side.
I wonder if some of it, just to wax armchair psychiatrist for a minute, you know, I mean, the mountains insulate us to a degree, and it's a slower pace of life, and things move slower, and change moves slower. Maybe that's a lot of it too. I don't know.
I mean, that's exactly right. But I really hate to sit back and take the criticism of being an advocate for the business community. I hate to take the criticism that the problem is no private investment. I mean, we had a stadium project here, and I'm not talking about the last one. We had a stadium project here in 2007 where we had $21 million stadium, $7 million from the state, $7 million from local government, and $7 million from private sector investment. Now that was the total, $21 million for a stadium. The thing got all out of whack, but the point I'm trying to make is there's always been private investment. There's always been local citizens willing to step up. We had Barclays Bank in here 10 years ago, willing to make investment in infrastructure in support of this community, and we could never close the deal. And to me, that's political will. Actually, it's a lack of political will. So, you know, that's where I'm coming from on this particular issue. And I'm sorry.
No, you're a wealth of information on this.
Get the letters coming in. Up next, Doug Walker is going to lead us in a discussion about Washington County Public School System monitoring its students' social media. Please stay with us.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow! I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. CopyQuick.
Arbors Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
For over 20 years, Antietam Cable Television Productions has been bringing you local programming. From coverage of the Alsatian Mummers Parade and high school sports to unique local programming like our Ghosts and Legends shows and the Civil War in Washington County. Now you can own them on DVD. Just visit AntietamCable.com and click the DVD store button at the top of the page. You'll find all your favorite local programming from Antietam Cable, and right now, for a limited time, get 25% off plus free shipping on everything in the store. Antietam Cable Productions, bringing quality local programming to your home.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
If you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve FaceTime.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
Okay, Washington County Public Schools announced recently that it will begin monitoring social media that occurs on school property. Jim, are you okay with the school system monitoring your children's social media?
You know, I think I am, Doug. That my question is, how do they distinguish between the children's social media and visitors and staff and others' social media? Does this give them carte blanche to look at everyone's?
Probably. If you're, it's called geofencing, is what I saw, and it probably is. If you're on their property, they're going to be able to see your social media, whatever it may be.
And then the other issue is that we know geofencing. I get that, but we know that wireless signals. There's not a there's not a point that you can cut them off at, probably. So
that's that thing where electrons go.
Yeah, they might
many
have a
different
little,
directions.
They may have a little spill. So if I'm a neighbor
Right.
to one of the school systems in any of the communities, I'm thinking,
May have to give up the 900 numbers.
right, exactly.
What do you think, Art?
Well, this this deal, the root of this particular issue is with this thing over bullying,
right,
and this thing over some incidences that have festered in the schools, within the walls of the school, that led to some of these catastrophic incidences where children lost their lives. And I mean, that's the root problem. So if this is something that can fix that, I'd be fully supportive. I'm not sure it is.
I'm not sure it is either, but, and Jim stole my thunder because I always try to take the libertarian conservative side of things. I think this is a fine idea.
Okay.
I mean, I think that the bullying that we either faced or administered as children was face-to-face or a letter or something like that.
Right.
There's so many ways to get to kids these days. And if this can keep, at least on school property, if they know that Big Brother is watching, I think they're far less likely to try to get to somebody over their iPod or
Sure.
their iPad and that kind of thing. I think it's a good idea.
Let's talk about another piece of this, and that is the justification, the reason why we went to this. And I can't help but think part of this has to do with the fact that if we don't have all of these things in place and something were to happen, the lawsuit would be just beyond belief.
Sure.
And obviously, that's not what we want to think about. We want to protect our children. I have 3 kids in the county system. I am very comfortable with where they are and the security that's provided in the schools, and I am very supportive of anything they want to do to make sure that that security remains at that high level. But from a practical standpoint, in my mind, you almost have to do some of this just to mitigate your potential liability and risk.
Never thought of that, but yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
But in the warm up, Doug, you said you're going to be surprised where that was you, stood on this issue, and I'm going to tell you, I am surprised. I thought that my good buddy, libertarian at heart, limited government roles in the private lives of individuals. I thought you'd be totally opposed to this.
I think even libertarianism, there comes a limit, and if you go too far, you have to understand there have to be some government, or else there's just anarchy.
Well, amen.
So, I'm for that. I think it's a good idea because again, kids, I don't think, they don't understand the damage or the potential problems it's going to cause by all this cyberbullying until, again, something explodes or a kid comes to school with a gun or something.
Yeah.
So,
now, the question remains, will it help eliminate a potential risk?
Well, here
and I don't know the answer to that, but I got to tell you, in my mind, at some level, it's similar to let's limit the availability of guns, because that'll stop the criminals from getting them. Well, guess what? That doesn't work.
Well, we've done some things similar to this in what I'll call the analog world. This is in the digital world, this monitoring the social media. But in the old analog world, we've done things like the dogs that are brought into school that sniff the lockers. I mean, that's in some respects a violation maybe of someone's civil rights. You put it behind, but we're behind that. I mean, well, at least I am.
I was too.
I mean,
you have no expectation of privacy in your locker if it's on a government.
Okay.
That's not a civil rights violation.
And you see, I'm in agreement with that, and that's the government's involvement. I mean, to your point, Jim, I don't think there's anything in the world wrong with requiring a gun to have a gun lock. When it's in a private residence. I mean, my good Republican buddies will be writing in about that one. But gun locks.
I think you can require it to. Well, not to get off topic. I'll let that one go for another. I think we can require a gun lock to be sold with a gun, but you certainly don't have the right to come into my house to make sure it's locked.
Oh, I will totally agree with that. But the fact that we require you to buy a gun lock when you buy a gun, I don't think that's a bad idea.
I wonder.
I can't make you use it. I'm with you.
The bigger question is, isn't there a way, I mean, couldn't the school control, there are ways you can sort of block all internet other than what the school wants to allow through during the day, you know what I'm saying, and only open it up during sporting events or something like that? Is that possible or not feasible? I don't know.
I mean, anything's possible in terms of limiting that. It's a bit more difficult when you have mobile phones involved. Obviously, one of the things that our new superintendent, who's not really new anymore, but one of the things that he brought to the table is that we've always viewed these cell phones and these electronic gadgets as a problem in the education system, and the reality is they are a tool like any other. And what I heard from him in the very early days of his administration is we need to embrace them, we need to control them, but we need to allow children and students the ability to learn how to use them productively rather than just sitting here playing whatever the game of the week is.
Before we jump out of this, let me make one final statement. This issue all goes back again to parenting, and we've talked about this. I mean, if the parents aren't going to step up and monitor what their kids are doing in the electronic age, then the school system is probably a reasonable group to do that.
At least on school grounds.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all the time we have for this segment. Stay tuned, because when we come back, our panel is going to discuss fantasy football in the workplace.
Hi, I'm Mr. Copyquick. Most people know Copyquick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. Copyquick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow! I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. Copyquick.
Woodlands Apartments, with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Conveniently located close to Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them? Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
Here's what our customers are saying about Wolf Furniture's showroom.
The showroom is amazing.
They have a beautiful selection.
Wolf's showroom is awesome.
Beautiful. The Wolf showroom is beautiful. Awesome.
Classy. Compared to others, very classy.
Very classy, very unique. And as Freddie said, the prices are very competitive.
Come in and see for yourself our wide selection of quality furniture at very competitive prices at Wolf Furniture.
Arbors Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
So many of us have experienced the office pool. Whether it's the fantasy football, World Series, Wimbledon tennis, we all have had the experience where we're asked to participate in these activities. But are these activities morale makers or business busters? Fox News recently put out a report that suggests that $13 billion, and that's billion with a B, Art.
With the B.
Dollars worth of lost time is associated with these activities. Art, are you a fantasy football freak?
No, but I sure have run the pools before. I never ran one for Wimbledon, but we did for the World Cup, a little soccer stuff. And
there's always NCAA.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen,
Super Bowl.
Who believes everything that's on Fox News? Well, this guy does.
Who does?
This guy does.
All right.
But $13 billion in lost productivity is a staggering number. But
I want to know how they quantify it.
Well, that was it. I mean, there's got to be more to the report than that.
Right.
And but morale builder, Jim, I don't know how you get around that in terms of particularly in an office environment. And yes, I do believe that that having some of those outside interests. If it's not fantasy football, 30 years ago it was standing around the water cooler.
I think management can go one of two ways on this. I think if they're smart, they buy into it, and maybe management themselves say, "Hey, here's our organizational flag or fantasy football league. Who wants to get in on it? And let's do it, and sort of maybe kind of control it the way you want." If it's being abused, then the other thing you can do, you can swing the other way, and it's not hard to buy software that blocks all sports websites and everything else, and you just can't get on them.
Sure.
Other than on your phone and things like that.
Well, interestingly enough, we always did it just the old-fashioned way with paper and pencil.
Exactly, we did.
I had a boss back years ago, 1986, and this is a wild story. No one will remember this except me. In 1986, Congress passed the Paperwork Reduction Act. And so within the government, and I was working for the government at the time, there was this massive push to not allow any paper to work, and we had to keep track of individual pages on the Xerox machine or individual pages on the fax machine and all like that. And at that same time, we had a boss up at Fort Ritchie who went out publicly and sort of gave the Korean peace sign to his bosses and said, "Look, I welcome you as employees of mine to come in and utilize our copying machines to do some of your personal work, because I know that if I try to limit you in doing that, that is going to affect your productivity more than the 2 cents a copy that we're going to spend on you doing a personal copy on a government machine. And I absolutely agree with that.
There was a similar study done to what you're speaking about. It had to do with online shopping on the internet. And of course, around Christmas season, there are employees, believe it or not, who will sit at their office desk and will do some of their shopping online for their Christmas presents.
Right.
The question becomes, is that a cost to business, or is that a net gain to business? And what the study suggested, what the results suggested, was the net was positive for business, because although they are using business time to do personal activities, the cost of having them absent from work for that day that they would take,
when they're not sick,
right, to do their Christmas shopping would have been far greater than the cost of having them use the internet connection to do their Christmas shopping.
And I defy anyone to show me an employee, big business, small business, whatever, that is absolutely gainfully employed in the specific mission of the organization for 8 hours every day.
You can't do it.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't do it.
That is impossible.
Right.
If somebody finds that employee, give me a call and we'll put them on Flipside.
Well, the reality is
they're called robots.
Well,
yeah.
The reality is that I think good employees appreciate flexibility of the employer to accommodate the things that they have to do personally, whether that's a doctor's appointment or shopping on the internet. I think there's benefit there. I also think that, again, looking at the fantasy football thing. Now, again, I don't think you should be forced to participate, but I just don't see the harm in it. And I would like to see the other side of that study to say, what does it do for employee morale? What does it do for the camaraderie that's built among the employees?
What about the employees that don't really intermingle that much except during fantasy football league season? And you know, after that season's over, hey, we need a committee for this or that. I already know Joe down the hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's another study to be done. It's not been done yet. We welcome your feedback. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Flipside TV, or email us at feedback@theflipsidetv.com and add your opinion to this topic. We'll report on the best entries in next week's segments. And by the way, while we're talking about reporting on the best feedback, we had some feedback on last week's segment around binding arbitration for the city police and city firefighters. And we've received a number of phone calls, and we received one very detailed email from someone who is really involved in the process. And there was a question, quite frankly, of some of the opinions that were presented. So I'm not going to address those tonight, but what we are going to do and what the viewers can look forward to is we are going to make contact with that viewer, and we are going to try to make sure his opinions are heard. And if there are facts that were not presented, then we want to certainly present that, because that's what we need to do to help our community, and that's what this show is all about.
That's good.
Next up, our panel will discuss the sensitive topic of suicide prevention and the local resources that are in place for anyone that is considering that tragic last step. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
If you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve FaceTime.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport, conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore. We have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
Arbors Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow, I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. CopyQuick.
The recent suicide of actor-comedian Robin Williams has brought this issue to the forefront of the nation's conversation. There seems to be overwhelming agreement on Mr. Williams' talent and his long-time battle with addiction and depression. The divide, however, is equally overwhelming, with opinions ranging from acknowledgement of suicide as a medically treatable issue to others who term it a coward's way out. Panel, have you known anyone that has committed suicide, or what local resources are available to try and prevent this horrible, horrible situation?
So Art, I'm going to jump in on this one. I actually had a cousin that committed suicide.
Right.
And I got to tell you, you have those dates and times where things happen in your life that you just remember exactly what you were doing. And I remember that.
Sure.
Because, and it wasn't somebody that I went to see every week or whatever. She lived in the Baltimore area. But I did talk to her from time to time. And she always struck me as someone who was happy, who was, you know, family woman, kid, a child. And so forth, and it was awful.
Well, not a free commercial, but let me put a plug in for a Herald Mail article recently that talked about suicide. And what struck me about the article that was particularly telling and good was this issue over what are the telltale warning signs. And of course, there's a myriad of signs. Something that struck very close to my heart, if you will, was evidently heart trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And having a major operation. Doug, you're probably familiar with a lot of this.
Right.
Having a major operation for heart trouble can lead to fits of depression and ultimately to suicide.
Any type of major surgery where a person faces their own mortality for the first time can really send a certain subset of people into the depths of depression.
Sure.
Because they've never stopped and really thought about it. At some point, it's not optional. We're gonna check out, and a lot of people feel like I don't want to wait for it to happen. I can do it on my own now and not have the uncertainty. There's an element of that. There's
Sure.
a big element of that.
And I mean those are frightening things, considering the fact that frightening things to me that I had major surgery in and around the heart here recently.
Well, you don't seem depressed at all, though.
Well, and I appreciate that. I mean, I really do. But then again, on the other hand, I see that as happening. Several of my friends I've talked to that have had similar type open heart surgery, things like that, have talked about bouts of depression. And So it's something that I think is real, and this medical treatment that's available, we've got a whole list of resources.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of them now. I mean, it's as long as your arm, and best place I think locally to start, just to put a plug in. I mean, Brook Lane is right here.
Sure.
Everybody knows it's here.
Sure.
Call them, and if they can't get to you right away, they'll get you in the pipeline anyway.
And there's a suicide. Do we have the
suicide
number
prevention
that we can,
hotline?
Yeah, the suicide prevention hotline.
That's an
we'll
easy
give
one.
that number.
1-800-SUICIDE.
Right.
All right. 1-800-SUICIDE is your number for that. And
so the other interesting piece about that is that as a medical issue, there are things that have to occur before, let's say, for example, a parent or a friend sees or hears someone talk about a real possibility of committing suicide. The fact of the matter is, as I understand it, unless they physically hurt themselves, they can't be
committed against their will.
Against their will. And I guess that's a good thing. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, how many cases have we not committed them, and then they ended up committing suicide?
And I guess the flip side is how many people do we want to come and
Absolutely.
and grab out of their house and put away because they made an offhand comment because they were frustrated. I mean, that's the line.
Well,
of tread.
the other thing too that I think is very, very much an issue among Americans, probably among people of all nations, is this issue over mental depression or mental illness or mental problems that may ultimately lead to something catastrophic like suicide. But just the fact that we gauge it as a mental condition, we oftentimes want to shy away from that. We don't want to admit that. We don't want to do anything about it because there's a stigma associated with it.
We've talked on this program before relative to other issues that have to do with mental health, specifically gun control and those types of things. Some of the tragedies we've seen at the schools and the colleges and elsewhere where someone has got in and shot up the place. We all have 20/20 vision in hindsight.
Sure.
And as Doug stated, whether you're talking about suicide or whether you're talking about these other things, I don't know that we can ever know what's in a person's heart.
Sure.
And here's where I struggle, just not to maybe come at this from a different angle. We were talking about this earlier tonight with the kids. One facet of this, as a Christian, now I don't believe, for example, that suicide is we were all taught as Christians, an unforgivable sin. I don't believe that at all. But, as a Christian, I do struggle. I think if you've been told that you have 2 months to live and it's going to be painful the whole way there, you know what? I got no problem if you want to take a handful of pills. There, but for the grace of God, go any of us.
Sure.
And I don't think I want to go through that either.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, let me take 1 second before we jump out of this particular segment and talk just a moment about Robin Williams. I want to miss him. Great actor.
He was.
Wonderful, wonderful comedian. I mean, near and dear to my heart was Hello Vietnam.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Good Morning Vietnam. And his characterization of what went on in that particular segment. I'm going to miss him. Great actor, great comedian, and we need to honor that, I think, and hopefully we can get past that issue about the suicide. Next up, after a short break, we'll be back with the panel's last call.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow! I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, Give me a try. I'm Mr. Copyquick.
It's that time of year again at Hagerstown Honda. The 2014 models are on the way and the 2013s must go. It's your last opportunity to save big with 0% for up to 60 months on every new 2013 in stock. There's less than 300 models remaining and time is winding down. Looking for the lowest payment? Lease the award-winning all-new 2013 Honda Civic 4-door LX Automatic for only $219 per month with no money down. Or lease the award-winning all-new 2013 Honda Accord 4-door LX CVT for only $269 per month with no money down. It only happens once a year. The Honda Summer Clearance Event going on now from the dealer that's making it easy, Hagerstown Honda.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport, conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore. We have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
If you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve FaceTime.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
So during this segment, we give each of our panelists a chance to say what's on their mind. Art, what is on your mind, brother?
Well, I'm no self-serving here, but interestingly enough, recently I did a little presentation up on the mountain, if you will, about the history of Fort Ritchie. And what surprised me more than anything else was that a lot of people showed up to
over 100.
Well, yeah, over 100, and they certainly didn't show up to see me, but it did tell me that there's a spark of interest in this community about the history of that area up in the Penmar area that we call Fort Ritchie. And so I just tell our viewers that sometime in the not too distant future we'll announce that presentation, probably at the Washington County Free Library or one of the branches, and we'll do that presentation again. So.
Excellent. Doug?
It's kind of bittersweet going past there now.
Oh, it is.
All right. This probably won't affect us in Washington County, but being, like I said earlier on the show, I work down the road and I've had an opportunity to deal with this. Please stop worrying about Ebola, people. Please just stop. People are going crazy. You see masks everywhere. Look, it's droplet spread. It's not airborne. So please just stop. All right. Jim, what did you want?
That's it.
All right. Well,
yeah, no. I've got something to say, and I'm going to.
Well, that's it for me.
Okay, that's it for you.
You're telling me to wrap it up.
All right, so it's my turn, and tonight I would like to talk. And thank you for saving me some time because I have a lot to talk about. Tonight I'd like to talk about just pay extra shipping and handling.
Okay.
That is a way that makes something that's supposed to be free not free.
Right.
And we've seen it in infomercials where we have the $10 gadget that turns out to be $28 by the time you get the second one for free.
And
but it's not just on as seen on TV. We've seen it on Craigslist. For example, somebody tried to give me a horse once. Actually, they did give me a horse once. That only cost me about $2,000 a year. We've seen it in stores where it's buy one, get one free, but all of a sudden the price of the original item goes up 50%. And we've seen it in politics because there is no such thing as a free lunch. And whether you're talking about an Obama phone or food stamps or the $30,000 per plate dinner at the famous person's house for you to get an audience with the President of the United States, there is just no such thing as a free lunch. Right. And that's all I have to say about that. So, thank you for joining us tonight. Please send us your feedback at facebook.com/theflipside TV. You can also email us at feedback@theflipside.com or flipsidetv.com. And if you can't watch the show live, please DVR it. That's our show for tonight. Please join us next week for another episode of The Flip Side. Thank you.